What's good, Detroit Sports Nation? I am Eric Vincent, your host here at the DSN News Desk. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your time and support. And Lions fans, if we're all feeling the same today, if we're all feeling as we thought we would have after last week with the Lions missing their opportunity to get to the playoffs, that frustration just went to 1,000,000 after what we read today on the internet. Adam Schefter, ESPN's insider, who does a great job, and we did some of the reporting as well on DetroitSportsNation.com. Check our website to see for yourself. He confirmed every suspicion and frustration that we felt watching that Seattle Seahawks Los Angeles Rams game last week in Week 18 that decided the Lions' fate of the playoffs. And what did we see? We saw a competitive game. We saw a back and forth. We saw horrendous quarterbacking by Baker Mayfield, who we had to put all our trust and faith into. And if that wasn't enough, if that wasn't annoying enough to have to deal with, who else do we have to deal with? Our always second opponent, because you'll play one opponent with your team that you play against, then that other opponent, the officials, showing their behinds again and screwing over the Detroit Lions. Let's get into what we talked about, right? Let's get into what Adam Schefter detailed. In his report on ESPN.com, he talked about how the Detroit Lions should be absolutely livid for what happened in that game. Because we all saw the same thing, and we all believed it. Of course, look, Detroit versus everybody resonates with us to the utmost, and we know that. But when you hear outside people, when you hear people who may not be Lions fans talk about, oh, you guys complain about everything. I even was talking to a Packers fan on Instagram last week who said the same thing. He said, you guys always have something to complain about, always want to be a victim. And you know what? It sucks to have to feel that way. But when it's confirmed, when other people on the outside see, you know what, they might have a point, it all comes right back to what we've been saying. So let's talk about it. Again, I'm sorry to drag this out, but I'm angry right now from this. So, according to the report from Adam Schefter, he talks about how a source from the NFL Competition Committee called the game against the Seahawks and the Rams the worst officiated game of the year. Now, obviously, because of the performance of the officials, but considering what was on the line, which is an opportunity for the Detroit Lions to get into the postseason, they had an opportunity to slide in, and they absolutely get railroaded by horrendous officiating. And the competition committee confirms. They said it. The Lions should be livid. It was an awful way for them to end their season. Also confirmed and said in a quote, the NFL must do a better job of screening, hiring, and training its officials. The league can't have games in which team seasons are on the line and have questionable calls such as the ones in the Rams-Seahawks Week 18 game. And what were those calls? Let's relive them. I mean, if you, as angry as I am, squeeze the stress ball, do whatever you need to do as we go through these plays one more time. We all saw them. The roughing the punter penalty in the fourth quarter was abysmal. The Rams player who literally was running and charging into the punter, the punt is kicked off, and he's pushed into the punter by the Seahawks teammate. And the Rams get flagged for it, giving another set of downs for the Seattle Seahawks. Disgusting. And the competition committee clearly saw the same thing that we did. So are we just crying and complaining about it? No. They saw the same thing we did. What else did we see? More BS. A horrendous roughing the quarterback call on Jalen Ramsey. Geno Smith is running in the fourth quarter. All these plays that were horrendously called were the fourth quarter, ironically. Fourth quarter or overtime. Geno Smith is running, he's scrambling, and he has 1 foot out of bounds. He has not gotten out of bounds yet. Jalen Ramsey hits him while 1 foot is in and 1 foot is out. It was a very close bang-bang call. And normally in these games, the home team is going to get the benefit of those calls because the crowd's going to go, hey, oh, hey, and the sideline's going to erupt and go crazy. So refs normally throw flags to kind of keep things tempered, and that's exactly what we saw. It was a terrible call, but on top of that, we also saw on that same melee where Jalen Ramsey tackles Geno Smith, DK Metcalf comes out of nowhere, pushes Jalen Ramsey, and pokes him in the eye in front of 2 officials. And they do absolutely nothing about it. No call. Jalen Ramsey even tried flopping to sell the call like a soccer player, and the ref still didn't say nothing about it. Just horrendous, man. How do you look at that happen? 2 different things in this instance, and you don't say nothing? No after altercation calls? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man. And that doesn't stop there. There's 2 more. Those 4 horrendous calls that really tipped things over in the 4th quarter and overtime. The refs went blind to an intentional grounding play by Geno Smith in overtime. He throws the ball. He's scrambling around. He's getting pressure from the defensive line by the Rams. He throws the ball to the Seattle 23-yard line, which would be fine, but the nearest receiver on that play was tight end Noah Fant, and he was at the 35-yard line. He wasn't even close to the play. Geno Smith didn't get outside the tackle box. He didn't get the play or the throw back to the line of scrimmage. He didn't throw it out of bounds in safe play. He simply just missed the call. The ref simply just missed the call because what? For whatever reason. I don't know what they missed it for. That's 3 right there. I don't know how these elementary mistakes are being made by these professionals. And again, that ain't it. The cherry on top, and this one hurt the most because of who made this play. Quandre Diggs picked off Baker Mayfield, a play where Baker should have led a touchdown, but threw it to the ceiling and gave Quandre Diggs enough time to get over from the other side of the field to get an interception. Then he makes the play, and he grabs the ball, takes the ball in one hand, and with the Rams sideline directly to his right, he wags the ball in front of them, taunting, and takes it up for more yards, and no penalty was called. The refs, as described in the article by Adam Schefter, said it was a judgment call whether or not they were going to make that call or not. Now, mind you, this is the league, the no-fun league, that throws penalties against players for talking trash to each other after a play, for first down celebrations, for sack celebrations, touchdown celebrations. The no-fun league has been a mockery for years because of the officiating and because of the league front office for letting it happen. And now it's all of a sudden a judgment call in overtime of a game that's deciding playoff fate. You let it slide because it's a judgment call. What are they? I really want to express different words, but this is a family network and a family show, so I'm going to temper my anger the best I can. What kind of BS explanation is that? What is that, man? How will we let that slide? And the Lions players seen it too. Alex Anzalotti tweeted. He said, every week and every year, I get more motivated to become an NFL official when the season is over, so he can bring some change and credibility to that area. We saw Deshaun Elliott tweet and talk about it. We've seen plenty of Lions and players and fans express their frustration for this. And again, we hear all the time, oh, Detroit versus everybody. Detroit Lions just crying about everything. Now it's extra eyes validating it. So what you gonna say now, huh? What you gonna say? Is this more just complaining? Is it more complaining? Oh, let me guess. We're gonna pivot to the ultimate excuse that people give to Lions fans whenever they get screwed over. Well, if you just played better and you didn't put yourself in that situation, this never happens. More BS. More. Gaslighting fans, gaslighting a team to let refs be bad at their job. Mind you, this ain't even a game the Lions were playing in. They didn't play to the night game. They didn't play to the night game, and you let them slide with bad officiating in a game that they weren't even playing in. And again, it's 4 instances. If you throw 1, maybe 2 flags, maybe not all of them, because refs miss calls. It's no big deal. There's holding calls they miss. There's pass interference calls, illegal contact. It's a bunch of calls they miss. They're not finna be 100% every single time. But we saw this on the national stage. We saw it happen before our very eyes. Happen repeatedly, play after play after play. And the refs just going to be able to slide and skate off on this. I don't understand, man. I really don't. the league, going back to the quote earlier where they said the NFL must do a better job of screening, hiring, and training its officials. No, you don't. No, you do not. You need to do a better job of disciplining officials when things like this happen. You need to when players mess up, when coaches mess up in games, they have to go to the podium. They have to talk to the media after. They have to explain what was going on in their mind during the heat of battle in those games. Do referees have to do that? No. They just get to make bad calls, get protected by the front office, ride off and don't have to deal with no scrutiny, no questions, no answers have to be provided, nothing. I don't know if they're penalized. I don't know if they're fined. I do know that they review their games with video foot afterwards. I do know that's a thing, but I don't know if they're penalized or held to a standard where they need to be better because of the performances that they've had. But it needs to get to that point immediately. If I'm running the front office, I'm fining officials. I'm suspending them for games that are this egregious. I'm putting them on the podium to have to explain these judgment calls that they missed or made. I want to hear all that, man. I want to hear all that from these officials. Put them on the same microscope. Put them on the same stage that you put these players on, that you put coaches on. I want to see it. That needs to be the change. You want to train them better? Fine. But start there. Start with a disciplinary action because clearly they ain't getting it. They feel comfortable and safe enough to make bad calls throughout the whole regular season. And now they're missing calls and they don't have to say nothing about it. And you know what? I'll take it even a step further. And I don't want to make this the subject of it, but I want the Lions to be more vocal about it. I'm happy that the players have been tweeting. I'm happy that they've been on social media talking about it, expressing their frustration for everything. But I want to see Dan Campbell at the front of this. I want to see Brad Holmes talk about it. I want to see leadership truly stand behind this team, this fan base, and the stuff that we've been seeing for the longest. I want to see them stand up. To me, that was a problem I had with Jim Caldwell when they had the debacle against the Seahawks where they slapped the ball out of bounds and Jim Caldwell says nothing but says, "Oh, hey, we just got to play better now, put ourselves in that situation." The Dallas Cowboy playoff game where we get screwed over by a penalty that they throw and then pick up for no reason and just remove the penalty altogether. And what does Jim Caldwell say? We just got to play together. We just got to be better than what we were. We can't put ourselves in that situation. No! Stop gaslighting your team. Stop gaslighting fans. Stop penalizing fans and players for feeling that they're being robbed. And stop giving excuses and leeways to refs for being bad at their job. Hold them accountable. Hold them 100% accountable the way you should. I'm tired of it. This is one of my biggest bugaboos, not even just the NFL, in sports, period. The NBA does it too. The refs are just, they put such an imprint on the game and they don't have to answer for nothing. I'm tired of this, bro. I'm so tired of this. This has to change at some point. And I'm tired of Detroit having to be the focal point behind this kind of change. Do it to the Jets. Do it to somebody else, man. Leave us alone. We've seen enough torture from the officials in the front office in the NFL. Plenty enough. We've seen it year after year after year. Now, granted, there's one thing I don't agree with where the source said this is the worst. This was the worst officiating game of the year. But he also said this was the worst way for the Lions to end their season. The season ended fine to me. I've been saying it. I don't care whether or not the Lions make the playoffs. Would I want them to be in? Sure. But to me, it doesn't confirm or stamp anything for who they are. I believe they're for real. Finishing above 500 shows you're for real. Playing the way you did in the division shows you're for real. And competing week in, week out shows that you're for real. With a young group that they had, they didn't need the playoffs, in my opinion, to show that they're for real. But if they have an opportunity to keep pushing and push their greatness, and the refs are holding it back by being terrible at their job, somebody has to answer for that. This has to stop, bro. This has to finally come to an end. Because I'm tired of this with the referees. Detroit versus everybody is always coming into play, and it's always the officials that are behind it. Tired of it, man. Tired of it. Thank y'all for sitting in on this rant, man. I woke up and I was super angry reading this on Twitter, and I'm still angry recapping it now, as you can see. But talk to me in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. How do you feel about these NFL refs, man? Another instance where they put the Lions behind the 8 ball unnecessarily. It happened again. It happened again. Talk to me. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Make sure you run up them likes on the video and subscribing to the channel as well so we can get closer and closer to our milestone of 6,000 subscribers. Help us make that happen with your love and support. We would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you tapping in on our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. Search and follow Detroit Sports Nation and lock in with me as well at I am Eric Vincent. Lions fans, I'm always ride for y'all, man. Detroit sports fans, I'm always ride for y'all. Again, if there's any fan base that's built for this kind of scrutiny, built for this kind of hate, built for this kind of torment, it's us. And if there's anybody that deserves any kind of benefit, any kind of turnaround to greatness, it's the Detroit sports fan base. And we're going to start right here to make that happen. Thank you guys again for tuning in and being here. I really appreciate your support. I'll be back again soon with another update right here from the DSN News Desk. Peace.